to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, or you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? I am going to apologize right up front about this voice that I have. I know it's not very nice to probably listen to, but we're going to get through this today, and I'm just excited that you're here. So I hope that you are finishing your month and this year strong. I hope that you haven't given up on your goals. I hope that you've stayed positive and encouraged and optimistic about where you are in your life and what you've created in your life and what you are hoping to create in the new year. And whether or not you are exactly where you want to be, or whether or not you're maybe better than you thought you would be, or whether or not you're not at all where you thought you would be, I think this podcast is for you. I was talking to a client of mine, and as you may know, I work with a lot of dentists. I am blessed that 99% of my business is word of mouth, and it didn't take too long to find myself in a pretty special niche, dentistry. So, I do consult as an interim CEO from time to time. I do workshops both inside and outside of the industry of dentistry. I coach entrepreneurs, as you know, but I feel like I am the luckiest person alive because I get to wake up every morning doing what I love, when I love, with the people that I love. And that being said, in the world of dentistry, you can continue to be in a private practice, or you can sell to a DSO, right? And the latter is becoming more and more enticing because of all of the pressure that dentists go through: rising costs, unmotivated staff, less reimbursements from insurance companies, all this while the expectations held by patients rises as well. Essentially, they are working harder on less compensation with more struggles than ever before. They feel time poor, overwhelmed, exhausted, and they feel as if they don't have a lot of options other than to sell to a DSO that will help shoulder some of the responsibility of staffing and better insurance pricing and not having to spread a limited bandwidth wider. And as I'm having these conversations with my dentist, I realize a few things. First, this is not unique to dentistry. You guys, this is a human problem that we all have, right? More responsibility across the board is being shouldered by those that demand more of themselves, AKA you. Because if you're listening to my podcast, first, thank you. I think I forgot that at the very beginning. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I truly, truly appreciate you being here. But I also know if you're here, it's because you're looking to better your life. You are looking to improve it. You demand just a little bit more from yourself. And I get it. It can be frustrating when the expectations of yourself are so high, and yet seemingly no one else seems to care. Secondly, when I find my humans in this place, right, working harder than ever before, discouraged about the progress that they are making, comparing their efforts to everyone else's resentfully, wondering, what is this all for? Feeling anxious and frustrated and overwhelmed in their work. What I know is that they have built a business at the expense of their life. They have unknowingly chosen their business, whatever that is, over their life. Most likely with the thought that it would be temporary, that it was just a season, that it would just be this one quarter, two tops. And years, decades later, they find themselves not working less, but more. They find themselves doubting the efforts because they don't feel any better. You see, we think it would be better there, but the results don't change our life for the better. If we want our lives to be better, we have to change ourselves. So the goal can't be just to build a business. It can't just be to build a culture. It can't just be to roll out the best engagement strategies, although incredibly effective. It's not just about enrolling people in their potential. It isn't just about understanding the leadership principles and philosophies and habits of the top leaders in the country. The goal can't just be to build a practice, to build a business. The goal, the invitation, is to build a life. And just as you look at all aspects of your business and you measure it with KPIs and SWOT analysis, this is what is required of building a life. This is what we do here. This is what we do here on the podcast. This is what we do in our coaching calls. This is what we're going to do in our upcoming Shift membership program. The first of its kind, right? To bring insights into the personal development space. I'm going to kind of tease out the membership here just real quickly because I'm so super excited about it. But this membership is going to dive deeper into these areas of life that we talk about on this show. Areas like relationships and health and boundaries and confidence and communication and leadership and finances and habits and goals and mindsets. In the membership, we're going to take a closer look at all of these areas. We're going to study them. We're going to apply them. We're going to dig deep into how we can shift in all of these areas, not just to make a little progress, shift, right? And since the coaching in the membership is rooted in quantum, you will make faster progress because you will be solving the right problem with the right solution. Okay. And more on that on a different podcast. But if you're struggling with building both a business and a life, if you feel like you've traded your life, your relationships, your health, your fulfillment, if you've traded that in for a business that you don't even know if you love, or even if you do love it, you just don't love that it sabotages a life that you deserve to love, consider this membership to support your best year in 2024. Okay, here's what I know. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, as dentists, as CEOs of households, you are creators. You are visionaries. But how often are you looking to create, have vision for, and build your life? I want you to ask yourself that question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How much time in your day, if we were to audit it, is spent thinking about your business? How much time is spent wrapped up in feelings about your business? How much of your time is spent working on and working in your business? And I think for too many of us, the answer is painfully obvious. Forget balance. Heck, we're not even close. And I'm not even suggesting that we need to be or that we should be. More so, I am asking, what would happen if you were to allow yourself to think a little bit more about your life, to feel a little bit more about your life, to work on your life just a little bit more than you do, what would that look like? What would be required of you? And that's what we're going to talk about today. What's required for us when we have this conversation around building a life? Now, this is not an exhaustive list, right? I only get so much time with my producer before she cuts me off. So this is not an exhausted list. But what I would invite you to is maybe pause this podcast right now and think about what is required of you for you to build a life that you love. And maybe if you've never ever thought about it that way and you already have a business, what was required to build that business? What are the components of the business that you had to think about? And can you draw some parallels to that which is your life? But as I was thinking about this and as I was talking with my client about this, these were some of the things that had come up in our conversation that I thought I would just share with you because I thought it made way for an interesting podcast. So the first thing that I think that is required in order to build your life is to do the work, right? I had a client of mine that recently sent me a testimonial, and I appreciated it so much. So thank you for your messages and your testimonials and all of it. I read every single one, and they fill up my heart so much. So thank you. But it said, if you don't know the work, how can you do the work? Or something very close to that, right? If you don't know what the work is, how can you do it? Okay, this work is not work that you learn, no matter what pedigree you have, no matter how many letters you have behind your name. This work is not taught. The work is discovered. I thought that was so awesome. And he's right. We can have these conversations every week. But if we're not doing the work ourselves to explore our thoughts, to take responsibility for our emotions, to track our habits, to track our actions, to be mindful of our moods, to journal on our learnings, our observations, and our growth, we will no doubt fall short of building a life, the very life that you deserve. The work is required. And I don't know if I love calling it work because work kind of seems like work, but it's fantastic work. The work of self-discovery and self-mastery, the work of tapping into who is it that I want to be today? How do I want to show up today with incredible conscientiousness? I just think that if we aren't showing up every day doing the work, right, we can't possibly build a life. That has to be the foundation of all of these others that I'm going to talk about. So the second thing that I think building a life requires is an intentional plan for your growth. I'm sure you saw that coming, right? What does that mean, an intentional plan for your growth? I think for so many of us, our personal development path is not really a path at all. It's disjointed at best, and often, too often, ignored, only really to be re-inspired by a book or a podcast or a course or a conference. But how many of you, right? Raise your hand. I can't see you, but I like to think that I can see you. Raise your hand. How many of you have been to a conference, have been to a workshop, have been to a motivational conference? Fired up, inspired, ready to win. Win in your health, win in your wealth, win in your purpose, win in your relationships. And then what? What happened? What happened is your life happened, right? The kids, the laundry, the groceries, the employees, the projects, the day-to-day grind. And we fall right back into the old patterns, the old habits, the old routines, And here is what I know for sure. When you let your life run you, instead of you running your life won't transform. Do you want to know why your life won't transform? Because you haven't transformed. You haven't integrated the philosophical insights, the behavioral change commitments, the identity states, the perspectives that lead to personal power and empowerment. You're not going to awaken to the full potential that you are by going to a live event, no matter how great the keynote is, no matter how amazing the music was, right? No matter how great you feel, no matter how great it was, no matter how much dancing and camaraderie and high fives and hugs, right? That is not how we are wired. We are wired for constant growth, consistent growth, committed growth, conscious growth, which means building our self, building our life needs to be something that we don't leave to chance. It can't be random. It has to be an intentional design. So if I were to ask you to show me your growth plan, your daily personal development strategy, what would that look like? What does it look like next month? How about the month after that? What are you learning? What skills and competencies do you need to level up on to make the progress that you want in your life, to move the needle forward on the goals that you have in your life? What about all the books that you order and have stacked somewhere? What is your plan for them? When are you going to read them? I get it. It sounds preposterous that I would even ask any more of you when you're already doing too much. How dare I? But I think you deserve it. I think your life deserves some conscious focus and attention. I think you owe it to yourself to ask, what is it that I'm actually doing? How is it that I am spending my time? What are you doing too much of? Is that what you want to be spending your time doing? If I were to ask you what a nearly perfect day would look like for you in terms of how you spend your time, on what and with whom, how close is that from how you actually are living your day? How far away is it? Will it? Could it ever be perfect? Maybe. I don't know. But I think for most of us, if we're being honest, I think there's room for all of us to bring more intentionality into our life, into our years, into our months, into our days, into our hours, into our minutes, to have personal development be something that we do every single day. Just like we would brush our teeth every single day. It's not negotiable. It is something that is required to build our life, which is why I love the membership that we're organizing by way of Shift. It is an ecosystem to bring daily personal development strategies, tools, frameworks, journal prompts, challenges to your home, to your daily planner, so that you can integrate your life into your planner as opposed to just being at the whims of your life. Which again brings me to the third area. When was the last time that you were deliberate about designing a rhythm to your day? I mean, I know for so many of us, we wake up, we brush our teeth, we get coffee, we go right into checking the needs of the business, the needs of everyone else. And I get it. People will say, Leah, you just don't understand. My team needs me. I need to know if people are going to show up to work. I need to know if I need to substitute different people in and out, and I understand. But guess what else is true? You need you. And you need to know how you're going to show up at work. And I promise you, if you spent 5 minutes allowing yourself to matter and tuning into your head and your heart and getting yourself aligned for the day, knowing how you're going to show up for yourself, for your family, for your teams, before you started putting out fires, fixing all of the problems, AKA most of which are not yours to fix, you would be better suited for the day. And I get it. It doesn't seem like 5 minutes would matter, but I disagree. And those that do it, they know it matters. So much so that they don't miss it. And I don't want you to miss it either. Building in a morning and after work, a before bed ritual, routine, rhythm, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. Only that you try it. Pick one. Maybe it's a morning routine. What would allow you to feel ready to start the day? Maybe a gratitude practice. Maybe sending a few texts or voice records to the people that you love, the people that are top of mind for you. Maybe you write out 5 or 10 ambitions and goals that serve as your vision board. Safeguarding the I lost my motivation conversation. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's a meditation. Maybe it's a devotion. Maybe it's a combination. For me, and you've heard me talk about it on the podcast, it's my morning 5. It's a rare day that I don't do my morning 5. I journal. I do my top 5 gratitudes. I do my 10 ambitions, goals, and my 3 connections for the day. I walk, I work out, I do my daily challenge, I meditate, do a little devotion. Like, what would your morning look like? What if it was just to read 5 to 10 minutes of one of your 20 books that you have piled up in a corner to read? I know that for me, starting the day my way has probably been the single best thing that I have done to get me in the mindset of my own mattering. Think about it this way. I know for me, the days that I work out, I tend to eat better. I tend to drink more water. I tend to take my vitamins. Right? I tend to put myself into bed earlier. Why? Well, because the act of working out reminds me that my health is better, that I become someone that is healthy, and therefore I choose choices that are health-minded. I mean, there's this tug of war between what's more important, the workout or the kitchen. Like, what is going to create, the results of health and vitality and weight loss? And to me, it doesn't matter. But for me, working out has always been the catalyst for better choices. When I work out, I choose better for my health because working out symbolizes to me that my health matters, that my life matters, that people are dependent on me to live as healthfully as I possibly can. And I think the same thing about starting the day in a way that is honoring you. It also has a ripple effect. You will remind yourself throughout the day that you matter. And therefore, you choose choices that are considerate, not just of everyone that you care for and lead for, or lead and love. It's an invitation to care and lead and love yourself so that you can 10x the care and love that you extend to others. Okay, the 4th way that we can build a life is by way of our relationships. How are yours? How are they? When was the last time that you thought about them? How much time do you think about how you show up for the people that you love in your life? Do you think about how you can add an element of surprise to their day by a simple note or a simple message? Maybe holding a hug just a little longer, sending little quotes or images or songs that people would like. I feel like so many of us are so out of touch with our people. When was the last time we asked the members in our family what they want in their life? What keeps them up at night? What worries occupy their mind? I think we have lost the art of communication. Most of our communication is digital. It's our emojis replace words. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love a good emoji. But are we saying what we want to say? Are we saying, I love you? Or are we just putting an emoji heart? Are we saying hugs to you? Are we putting an emoji hug? Are we saying, I kiss your face? Are we sending the emoji with the kissy face? There's something about words that matter, that mean something. And meaningful relationships are what we want in our life. They're the currency of my life. And sometimes I think we forget the meaning. I think we forget the importance of them in our life. And I don't feel as though we have quality ones to the extent that we can, to the extent that if we were just to spend a little bit more time measuring in metrics how we are in relationship to others, how we're thinking about our relationships with high quality thoughts. I think if we're not, we can find ourselves feeling super unfulfilled and uneasy. The fifth and the last way that I think we build a life is by protecting, creating, and restoring our energy. Without energy, friends, it is next to impossible for us to do anything. It is the most important thing that we do. But how often are we protecting it? How often are we doing the very things that will create it, that will restore it? How often are we managing our sleep? There is enough research on energy to know what is required to ensure that we honor it. Are we moving our body? Are we mindful of the food that we eat? Are we taking pit stops throughout our day to shut our eyes and to meditate? I don't want any one of us to miss out on our life because we are too wrapped up in our business. I want us to be doing our work. I want us to have an intentional plan for our growth. I want us to design rhythms in our day, a morning and after work, an evening routine. Pick one. I want us to put meaning back in our relationships. Who can you send a text to today that isn't emoji ridden, that actually says words like, I love you. I miss your face. I think you're amazing. I thought about you today and it warmed my heart. I think you are beautiful. I invite you to pick up the phone right now and send a message to someone, whether it be random or somebody close to you, using words, right? Maybe saying more than you would normally say. I also want us to protect our energy and restore it with like the simple practices of health management. I thank you so much for being here today. I thank you for listening. I thank you for your messages. You guys, like I said before, I love them. They help me feel as if I'm not just talking to myself and my producer. But here's my favor. If you have learned a thing or two in my podcast, or if you feel as if today kind of hit home, or if you know any other business owners that might be feeling a little discouraged with the way their business feels, with the way that their maybe life feels, would you share this episode with them? It would mean the world to me. My goal, as you all know, is to impact 1 million people by way of this work. And I can't do it without your help. So if you would share or comment or like, it does help the algorithm and it does help me get in front of more people. So if you would just take 20 seconds, I think it takes, to do just that today, it would be a blessing and I would be forever grateful. So here's to building both a business and a life that you love and that you deserve. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rolling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrolling.com.